200 videos in 365 days is something that's not easy to do. Today I want to talk about some of the things that have kept me there for so long and what I've learned from them. I was looking at some statistics on the web about how long it usually takes people to get to 100 subscribers, and what I found was it's usually about 2 months on average. So some do better and some do worse. And then to get another 100 subscribers after that, I think the average was around 5 or 6 months. So that puts me in the very lower part of the average there, because I don't even have 200 subscribers, and it's been 11 months now. So what have I been doing that is hampering the growth of my channel? When I started YouTube, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't have any sort of topic that I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to get on. I knew I wanted to do it, and I knew I wanted to do it for a long time, but I just wanted to get on and start the process. And so I started recording for 30 days at the very beginning, and I didn't have a game plan. It was just me trying to get comfortable with the camera and be able to speak better on the camera. And so I just turned the camera on every day for 30 days in a row. And that was kind of like my challenge to myself. Like, if I could do it for 30 days, I can go longer. And if I could do it every day for 30 days, then that'll set up some sort of, schedule for me to continue doing it. And so I committed to it and I did it. And then I decided to keep going, not as frequently, but kept going with it. But I still didn't have a plan. Oh, my dog's barking in the backyard, so I gotta go figure out what she's barking at. There's the backyard back there. The neighbor lives right there on the other side, so I'm sure they get annoyed. The dog that I have barks like crazy. It's just her type of breed. She's like a protector type dog. So she gets back there and she starts barking, and now I gotta see what she's barking at, because I don't want the neighbors getting upset at me. So let's go see. I think the other dog is now barking at me, and so my dog is barking because the other dog is barking. Macy, come on. So this is Macy, the white dog. And this is Wolfie. So I didn't really have a plan for YouTube, but I would go on and I'd look at all the YouTube advice and see what people are saying about it. And there is a lot of good advice out there for YouTube, for starting out YouTube. It seems like there's a million channels on it. And so I started researching and trying to figure things out. And as much good advice as there is, there's a lot of bad advice too. A lot of the bad advice was coming from kind of smaller channels that kind of blew up. And I don't think they really knew how they blew up, but they blew up. And so, they would try to tell you what worked for them and what they thought about this and how the algorithm does this and that. And so I had to really try to weed out all the bad advice over time. It took a long time for me to start to understand what was real, what made sense, and what people are just saying to get views themselves. And so it was kind of a challenge for a while, for a few months. And then I joined a kind of a mastermind community class that I learned a lot of stuff about YouTube and how it actually works and how the algorithm is really set up to help us and not hurt us. And there's no tricks and secrets to getting the algorithm to like you and to start pushing your channel out. Nothing like what the little gurus were telling you online. So after looking at all this stuff online and seeing all the advice that's out there and learning a lot, I still didn't progress. I didn't go very far. And I think what I focused on was still not the right things, and I think I'm getting there. It's taking time, but it was more focused on, kind of the production value or the gear that I had and the lighting. And I come from photography, so I enjoyed that part of it too. It wasn't that I was just doing that thinking that that was gonna be the thing that pushes me to the next level, but I enjoyed it, and I had the means to do it, so I bought extra camera gear and acquired lighting, and I even did a green screen at one point. And I was experimenting with the gear, but it was a learning process. It was something that I had to go through to get to the next level. So I started learning with gear, I started learning with software, how to edit software, like which software I needed to edit and how to edit. And all this where, my content was still not really there. I didn't really have much to say. I didn't know how I was saying it. I was just kind of turning on the camera and going. And then after a while, I got to the point where I thought I needed some help with how I could say things. So I started using ChatGPT, and I started using AI to help me write scripts. And basically, I would just tell it what I wanted it to write. And I think some of you know the process of this, and it doesn't do very well by itself. So you have to kind of finesse it and start to tell it more about, what you want to do, where you want to go with the video and all that. And I thought I was kind of going down the right track for that. And I did that for months, and I got a teleprompter, and I thought that would help me with the way that I was able to present that information. And so I tried the teleprompter inside with all the lighting and the cameras, and I was like, well, this is how the bigger channels are doing it. If you look, they're using a script, and they're talking to a teleprompter, and they're using this lighting, and it looks good. So this must be the way that you get more views and subscribers, and your content gets better. And so I kept on with that for too long, really. I did that for maybe 4 or 5 months of that time, and I really saw no traction, no growth. Nothing was happening on my channel for a long time. It was around this time that I started learning about something else that I'm working on right now that I think is the real key to it, because no matter what you're doing, at the end of the day, all that's going to make your videos better is just making better videos. And it sounds really stupid to say, and it sounds like, kind of a no-brainer. But really, that's all there is to it, is just make a better video. So the way that I was going and the path that I was headed down, I was doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, which is just ridiculous. So I knew I needed to experiment more, and I needed to learn more. And so now the focus was on what I found to be the part that sets certain content from other content. And I knew it because I've seen it. And so the element that I was looking for was storytelling. And I don't know how to tell a story. I'm not a good storyteller. So this is something that I had to buy books on and start reading and start watching videos on. And I'm nowhere near anywhere I need to be with how to do that exactly still. But I'm a lot closer now than I was before. And so now, once I have started to figure this part out a little bit at least, and I'm starting to experiment with it, I'm not really seeing the results quite yet. I think I will, but it's becoming a more enjoyable process for me. And I think that's what it boils down to. If I'm not gonna have fun with this and enjoy the process of making videos, then there's really not a whole lot of point in doing it. And with the old style, what I was doing, it was really just cranking out videos to crank them out. And so now I'm taking my time, doing it a lot differently, and I want to go into the process of how I'm doing it. And it's something that I've found that works for me. I know a lot of professionals don't do it this way, but I'm not a professional, for one. And for two, I've found this workflow to be a lot better. So I want to do that maybe in a coming video. So subscribe. I don't know, it might put me over the 200 that I'm talking about here, but subscribe if you want to see that one that's coming up. And I want to get into more being able to tell stories and try to experiment with what I've got to tell stories in my videos and try to get my points across better. So it's always something to learn, somewhere to go with, what I'm trying to do. And it's definitely a lot more fun now and a lot more of an adventure for me. So I'm learning as I go, and I hope I'm getting better. I don't know if I am. Maybe some people that have been watching me for a while can give me some feedback on that too. But I do appreciate you watching, and I want to come out with another video that shows kind of more of how I'm putting things together now and what the difference is and what changed for me to make me enjoy this process a lot more. So thanks for watching.